it's about I got to say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Being able to run as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Here we go. Goff from the gun.
This is BS Sports.
And away we go. Welcome back, Bass Pro Shops. That's our sponsor, actually.
Yeah.
People always wonder what the BS and BS Sports. It's actually Bass Shops.
It's Bass Shops.
We got rid of the P. We're not professionals.
We're not pros. No.
We're back. We got another great show. Eastern Conference Finals are a wrap.
Correct.
Didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
And yet it was, Mike.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, I mean, you're Indiana. You got two sports teams and Purdue. It's a rough year to be an Indiana sports fan, man.
It really is.
You got Purdue losing in the national championship. You got Anthony Richardson dying.
Yeah.
You got and they almost made the playoffs, that final game where they dropped the fourth down. It's tough, man.
It's tough. At least they have Caitlin Clark.
That's right. I was
Caitlin
like,
Clark.
hey, that's right. She's on the WNBA team.
She's on their
Indiana Marsupials, right? Isn't that their name?
Close enough.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Take it. Yeah.
But we got a lot to talk about. Pistons, they might have hired someone, I guess, technically, maybe.
No.
Perhaps. I don't know what's going on.
No.
Colleges are now able to pay players directly, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
This is something.
We got some baseball talk because Scott Harris, the president of baseball ops for the Tigers, he finally said things. So it wasn't good things, but he said things.
But he said something.
He said something. So at least you're going to get me riled up and mad for the show, which is great for content, by the way.
Yes.
But got to start with the headliner, Seth. I have a simple question for you. Can the Celtics be beaten? Because I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just haven't played a team that has their, healthy star yet. I don't know if you've seen on the I see everywhere that they're having the easiest
that's
playoff run ever
right now.
Which is that's fine. But there is some there's some merit to that.
There's something to it at least. I don't want to throw it out on principle.
Yeah, because it's not the sole reason. The Celtics are still a great team, but they've played the Heat without Jimmy Butler, who's their best player. They played the Cavs without Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell, best player. And then
Donovan Mitchell was in the series, but he left early.
Correct. And then same thing with Tyrese Halliburton in this series, who was the best player on the Pacers, who then I think left in.
It was game 2 or 3. I think after game 2 he got hurt.
So then it's there's merit, but it's definitely not everything just because
either way. Yeah, either way, it's you've lost 2 games in the postseason. I don't care who's playing. That's not easy to do. But I don't it just seems like Boston is either setting themselves up to be considered one of the all-time great teams, just an unstoppable force where they're just going to go into the finals and beat the heck out of whoever comes in, or they're going to go into the finals. They're going to face probably the Mavericks, but in theory, they could still face the Timberwolves. And it's going to be a crazy, back and forth, or they're just going to get smacked around. I don't know because, like you said, for no fault of their own, they played teams that are not at their level. Teams that probably shouldn't have gotten that far to begin with. I mean, even the Pacers, they beat up on a Knicks team who was incredibly injured, didn't have Julius Randle the entire playoffs. And
the Pacers went through the Milwaukee Bucks, who did not have.
That's right. No Giannis and no Dame early in the
part
series.
of it.
Yeah, it's
just injuries.
The Eastern Conference was absolutely riddled with injuries, and credit to Boston for taking advantage and eviscerating the competition.
Yeah. So I don't know. When we get to the finals, we'll kind of see. But more than likely, they'll be playing Dallas. But I don't think they're going to sweep Dallas.
Right. We'll see. If they do, then it's okay.
If they do, then
either way, it's you win a championship in the NBA. Nobody should really be oh well, actually, you didn't play X, Y. It's stop.
Right.
You got to win what is it? 4, 8, 16. You got to win 20 games over however long set. Like, no,
Still,
like it's not easy.
yeah, it's not easy, and I think too. I mean, I don't know. I remember that was such a big thing with the Bucks back in 21, was
Yeah.
that they had like this like cakewalk because of injuries and all that, and I'm just like, well,
So what? They all look the same in a trophy case,
exactly.
right? like,
Still a championship trophy. So
yeah,
we'll
right.
see.
And I mean, please, the way the Bucks are playing in the playoffs, you'll be living that
Yeah,
championship up for the next 100
for
years.
yeah, I probably will never see another one in my
That's
lifetime.
basically, yeah. But
But yeah,
like, even the other thing too about the Celtics, I mean, they're also not playing fully healthy. People forget about Kristaps Porzingis. I mean,
and Porzingis is gone. Yeah, if they had Porzingis,
right,
whew,
right. I
man,
mean, granted, still probably their third best player, right? I mean, it's Tatum, Brown, then Porzingis, but still, it's like he plays a pretty valuable role on that team, both
yeah,
defensively on the boards. I mean, the guy's like 100 feet tall.
that
So,
is true.
like, they're gonna
Yeah,
be back in the finals, and I mean,
if they don't win if they don't win
right. If
against the Mavericks in the finals, there is some real questions about that Boston
Boston
team.
fans are going to be
They're gonna be
very, very
mad.
upset.
They are going mad.
Well, like I'm sort of two minds, right? So theoretically, we're kind of going into the realm where it's going to be Dallas v Boston.
Yeah,
And it's like the worst situation for me because on the one hand, it's Boston, and I don't like to see their teams have success because of the
nobody
Patriots
does
and
except for
just
them.
all of yeah, right, except for them. But then on the other hand, it's like Kyrie's on the other team, and it's like, no, I need my narrative that Kyrie can't win
Yes,
without LeBron to stay true. I can't
which we'll
have
see.
this. But
Hey, we'll see. But I think one of the things too that's interesting, and that will be interesting in this, because again, we're gonna call it Dallas and Boston,
yeah, right.
is
Watch this be like age, like we come back next week
I
and it's
know.
like game 7.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
in
the
the
Minnesota
Timberwolves series.
Timberwolves have won
Yep,
3 straight
I know.
game
Yeah,
series on the line.
that'd be great. But I think both of these teams too is like, um, in both of these series, they were in like close games. They weren't
Yeah. Yeah, we were
blowout
talking about
games.
this pre-show.
Yeah,
Like,
which
it
isn't
wasn't like,
both teams.
Boston just went into Indiana or
And just
Indiana into Boston, just beat the heck out. It's like, no, I mean, like,
it
Boston
was
had some
close.
gutsy comebacks. Indiana had
Hmm.
some comebacks that they didn't finish, but it was like, people throw around the like competitive sweep, like,
I was
and
gonna
it's
say,
kind of
yeah,
true. I mean, like, if you
yeah,
watch the games, like,
yep.
it wasn't
Or
like I
look at
was
the
bored
stats.
watching the games. Like, that's the
Right.
worst thing that you can have in these
Yeah,
playoffs
I
in the
think.
NBA or the NHL for that matter. I don't want the
Yeah,
games to be boring. Like,
exactly.
and
Yeah, you don't want
regardless of
that.
who wins, if I'm entertained, look, my team hasn't made the
Please.
playoffs since before like the Model T. Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to be entertained. I just
that's
want to
it.
see really good basketball.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll kind of see, like, because I think in that aspect, the Mavs are doing it in the Western Conference where they're playing
Right.
close games and they're winning. The Celtics are doing it in the East. So we'll see how it works out, like,
Mm.
going into the finals. But I don't know. I think we'll see. I guess when we get there, we'll obviously talk about it in a show next week when I'm sure the finals will be set. But we'll see.
Right. Right. And just to jump into that Western Conference series, I mean,
Yeah.
similar sorts of points where you have two teams playing very close games back and
And
forth,
then
and then like
one team
Luka
is
Doncic is just like a
yeah,
killer. Like
yeah.
that was the thing I kept reiterating. I was like, this guy is like a murderer. He's like
He's going
Michael
to win.
Jordan. He's like any of these like big time shot guys for the Pistons. He's Chauncey Billups. He's the guy. Final seconds of the game, and he takes a shot, and you just know
It
it's going in.
it's going
And
in.
it always does. I feel sorry for Anthony Edwards. I
Yeah,
feel sorry for poor Rudy Gobert. Like I know
I know.
people are making fun of Rudy, but like it's not like he's
That
been like
shot.
terrible. Like it's like what is he supposed to do? Like that final I think it was game 3
Yep,
where
in
he
game
was
3.
on defense on Luca and everyone was making it's like what is he supposed to do? What do you want to like like tackle
I
him?
know.
It's like
Yeah,
he
it's like
he
he's
put
so
up he did I mean yeah, he got beat,
he's
ankles
big and
broke a little
lanky.
bit.
What's
Yeah,
he
I
supposed to
mean,
do?
what do you want the guy to do?
Yep.
I'm still rooting for the Wolves. I want them to
Yeah,
make history,
that'd
but
be awesome. But
it's probably not gonna happen.
we'll see. It could be the sweep could be completed tonight.
Gosh, a reverse. Oh man, if you do, see, I don't know what I would rather have. Like,
Yeah.
would I rather if I'm a Wolves fan, which I'm not, would I rather they like win a couple of games and then lose, or just lose right now? I don't know,
Probably a couple games to be honest. At least if it was me, at least we
right.
could say we didn't get shut out.
Right.
Even if
Yeah.
it's a gentleman's, like still.
Yeah, right. Like emotional me says like, no, just die. I don't want to hear about you. I want to be done. Don't hook me in. But like
still.
The me that hasn't seen a playoff win in 15 years says,
That's
well,
all
you know what? It'd be nice to win one.
Just one. That's all we need.
Just one, sir.
Yeah.
Like, meanwhile, it's just like Luka Doncic just comes in and just hold on. Where is it? Where's that drop? Oh man, where is it? Oh, there.
Ow!
There, yeah.
Ow!
Comes into our house and smacks us with a basketball.
That'll be Little Caesars after Luka Doncic is done with it.
It's a good thing that we play in the Eastern Conference, so he would only be able to do that in the finals, unless he gets traded.
Which I find highly unlikely.
Come on out to Detroit, Luka. We need to remedy taking Darko, like, because we failed on that European player, so we need to reverse
a good European player. Hey, you could do that in the draft.
Maybe, you know what? That was hurtful. I don't want to hear about the draft. The draft
Oh,
is.
I'm sorry. Did you?
Who's the guy that they got us? Matas Buzilis.
Yeah.
These guys sound like hockey players.
Maybe they are originally.
It's like up next, the Detroit Pistons select Lucas Raymond from the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do that. They play in the same arena, so maybe he just sticks around.
Yeah, he sticks around.
He's gonna stick around LCA. It's gonna be a doubleheader. Red Wings in the morning, Pistons at night. It's gonna be good. I don't even think he's that tall, but he'd be better than Asar Thompson. He can't be worse.
Well, just shoot.
What was his 3-point percentage? Like 15%. Hey, Asar, maybe look into new hobbies.
Asar.
That was his 3-point percentage. Was dialed
stats. Let's just look. I am genuinely curious of his
I'm pretty sure
stats.
it was like 15%.
His 3-point percentage. Ooh.
Was it?
18.6%.
Okay, all right. I was a little too mean. I was three percentage points off. 18%. Isn't he he's not a point guard. He's
a shooting guard, I think.
Yeah.
A forward.
Isn't he a forward? I thought he was a forward.
Yeah.
I don't
probably forward.
Positionless basketball.
What kind of shot is that?
Thank you, Patrick Ewing.
Just for the record, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 27.4%. Asar Thompson shot worse than Giannis did. That's crazy. That's like
how many shots did Giannis take realistically? Because maybe
from
that's
3. Yeah, they're probably about the same.
I mean, but it's still a percentage, so it's still like it averages out. So either way,
it does.
But
61.
That's incredible.
1% from the field overall. I'm just throwing that out there. That's a little
60. Hold on, what'd you say? 61.
61% from the field the entire season, averaging 30.
I think that's a little bit higher than
Asar.
Yeah, but his shooting from the field was like 13.
It was like 18 and then 20. Yeah.
Wow. So
anyway,
glad we took him top 5. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just got onto a Pistons pain loop.
Well, see, this is actually a good segue.
Yeah, we could just jump right into it. So the Pistons, they hired someone, I think. So like, there hasn't been any official team notice.
I think they're making it up.
Like, okay, so Pelicans GM Trajan Langdon is supposed to be working on a contract with the Pistons to be the new president of basketball ops,
which we sure hope.
So I don't know anything about this human being. Seth, do you know anything about Trajan Langdon? Can you?
That name doesn't sound familiar. If you asked me to spell that as well with a gun to my head,
okay, I mean, like he was a scout for the Spurs at some point. He was the assistant GM of the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked as the second in command under David Griffin in New Orleans since 2019. So he's been there since after Zion got drafted. Zion got drafted in 18.
Okay.
So now I got to look up Pelicans drafts.
Like who they have?
Yeah, like who do they draft after this guy was hired? Let's see. So he was hired. Oh, actually Zion was drafted in 2019. So he was there.
Okay.
For Zion. Okay. So you got Zion, Allen Smailagic.
Sure.
Okay. Jordan
G-League.
Bone.
G-League.
Which actually ended up going to Detroit. somehow. So
Oh,
that's great.
nice. All
right. What about Kira Lewis?
G League, I'm sure.
Well, that's stupendous.
Yep.
Elijah Hughes.
G League, I'm sure.
Nick Richards.
Doesn't sound familiar. G League.
Sam Merrill. Is he related to
Sam Merrill? I do know that name.
He was taken in the second round, pick 60, out of Utah State University. Go Aggies.
I think. Does Sam Merrill still? Okay, no, he plays for the Cavs. No.
Okay, so he's not even on the team. Great.
That's correct.
We also have Zlair Williams. I'm beginning to realize these drafts don't look great. Zlair Williams. Any Zlair Williams love?
No. Oh, that's why I knew Sam Merrill's name. He was on the Bucks at one point as well.
What about Herb Jones?
I do know that name. He's actually pretty decent. He's pretty good.
Okay. Jared Butler. Greg Brown. These.
Yeah.
I'm
Jared
not
Butler's
feeling
on the
great about
Wizards
this
now.
stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Dyson Daniels.
No idea.
EJ Liddell.
No idea.
Carlo Matkovic. And last but certainly not least, Jordan Hawkins. No relation to Steven, as far as I'm aware.
Well, that's always good.
Okay,
Hawkins.
so just looking at the drafts, at least, I'm not particularly impressed.
Yeah,
and
well,
that's just
Jordan Hawkins is still there.
Wow, great,
Oh.
super. They drafted him last year. I hope he's still there.
G League.
Oh, even better.
Yep.
What's he playing for? The New Orleans Seagulls or something? Whatever their G League team is.
Their jersey says Crescent City on it. That's kind of cool.
Isn't that no? That's their like city jerseys.
Is it?
Yeah, I've seen those. Those
Oh,
the
okay.
the red with the yeah.
Oh, here's a picture of him in that jersey playing against Kyrie Irving. So he has played NBA games.
Okay, all right.
That's gotta be a plus, right?
Something like that. Here's my thing, right? And I sort of was thought this is something that I've sort of told people. It's like they can hire whoever they want. Like if Troy Weaver's still employed, I don't care. If Troy Weaver and Monty Williams are still employed, I don't care. Like
it doesn't.
Like to me,
Monty Williams really got carried by the Suns, didn't he, Mike?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, the other thing about it is that, like, well, say he did get carried by the Suns. Fine. He can't be this bad, right? Like,
not for the amount of money he's making.
Like, let me think here. Let me try to get my thoughts together.
No, it's okay. Just this can be a therapy session for
Something like
the
that.
entire internet to see.
That's
Just
right.
let it out, Mike.
That's right. So, like, he does not appear, and this is me being sort of far away from the situation. It does not appear, allegedly, that he really even wanted to be here. In his opening press conference, this was something that I like kind of laughed at, and I was like, "Oh, that could either really backfire, or it's gonna be, like whatever." Like,
yeah,
he said something along the lines of like one of the things he really loved about Tom Gores was his generosity. Which is to say, he paid me a lot of money
to be here.
So, like, I mean, obviously he's the highest paid coach in the league,
which is insane.
He's the highest paid coach in the league, and he led the Pistons to the worst record in franchise history. That, like, he basically got paid $1 million for every win he got. I'm pretty sure he actually did, because he's getting paid, I think, $13 million a year.
Nice.
And we won 13 games or something like that.
Let's see. Shall we?
It's like basically $1 million a win.
You guys actually won 14 games. 14 and
okay,
68.
so maybe he's 14 $1 million a year.
Let's see. Monty Williams contract.
But my immediate reaction to it was not greatness. And then I see this rumor from Bleacher Report talking about how the Pistons are open to firing Monty Williams.
That
and my thing is okay.
Would be funny.
What's that?
Firing Monty Williams for the amount of
that would be funny.
Remaining
well, like, here's my thing, okay?
Yep.
When you put something like this out, just fire the guy. Okay? Like he's going to see this and basically hear, okay, they don't want me here. So just get it over. Like this is like it's like the pre-breakup. It's like you can't just like just end it. Like just stop. Like
yeah.
I don't think he like have a sit down with him. Ask him, Monty, how many zeros do we have to put on this check for you to retire to somewhere remote in New Mexico? Like where basketball is not played, where nobody even knows who the Detroit Pistons are. If Cade Cunningham walked up in front of them, they would ask him if he has a job.
Yes.
And I like when you put something, because this kind of thing, like, it gets leaked, and I don't know how substantial it is. But like, even if it's like totally bunk, right?
Yep.
Like everybody kind of knows.
Which it could be.
It could be totally bunk. But like, you can't. I'm sorry. Like, you can say anything about the quality of the team, because here's the thing that annoys me is people will say, well, he didn't have anybody around him. It's like, that's not what people were saying going into the year. People were talking about this young core. People were talking about Cade Cunningham, Jaden
How great
Ivey.
it was going to be.
Like, everything's going to be great. And then all of a sudden he loses, and it's like, well, he didn't have anybody around him.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Like, he had plenty of young guys. He couldn't develop any of them, or maybe they're undevelopable. They're undevelopable. I don't know. Like, but
I find
way,
that highly unlikely, but
I do too. I mean, like, I'm not a huge Isaiah Stewart fan, but he shouldn't be one of your reliable shooters over Jaden Ivey. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't happen.
I agree.
Like, especially for a guy who, in theory, is supposed to rely a lot on the 3-point. That was his whole thing in Phoenix and all the other places that he had been, is that he liked to run 3, and unfortunately we drafted the exact. It was as if
you drafted Asar Thompson.
Well, yes, we drafted Asar Thompson, who shot, what was it, Seth?
18.6%, Mike.
Thank you. 18.6% from behind 3. How are you in the NBA? I'm pretty sure
I could shoot better than that.
I'm going to be honest. I think we could both probably get around 18.6%.
Yeah.
Okay. Even like unguarded.
Realistically.
Right? I mean, because obviously I'm not going to put up a shot. I'm 5'7". I don't think I could put up a shot in the NBA, let alone have the shot go into the air and get into the basket. I'm pretty sure Killian Hayes, who is the worst basketball player I've ever seen, he would. Killian, I mean, look, understand this. Regardless of all the jokes we say, obviously these players are going to destroy us. But either way, let's assume that they hire this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's assume that Trajan Hagden or whatever, Trajan Langdon is,
we don't know.
This super genius. He knows all of the ins and outs of basketball.
We'll find out.
I don't know that he's like the GM is the butt of the problem. I think it's Tom Gores. I think it's this guy who like, the thing is, it's like the opposite of when you have, I guess, a good owner or a good general manager, where like,
no, I agree.
In the Lions case, right? If Brad Holmes makes a questionable draft decision, you'll say, you know what? Maybe he knows something we don't, and we're gonna all look stupid, right?
And
I mean, he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. He made everybody look stupid, right?
Yep.
Like, Tom Gores is like the anti-Brad Holmes in that if he does something that seems sensical, I'm just going to assume it's not going to work out. Like last year, I was so happy. I mean, you can go back and watch the video. I was so happy we hired Monty Williams. Everybody was saying how great of a hire it was. And now I know anything that Tom Gores does, I'm at the least, even if I think it makes sense, I'm going to think, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's like George Costanza. It's the opposite. Whatever it is, if it's the worst hire. So maybe in a weird sense, because I feel so not great about Trajan Langdon, maybe he'll be like, what's his name? The guy who made the Bulls.
Hire this man.
Yeah, hire this man. That's right.
Yeah.
Where is oh my gosh, what's the Mr. Steinbrenner? Where is Mr. Steinbrenner when you need it? I would love if Mr. Steinbrenner was alive and could buy the Pistons, because maybe then he'd give a darn.
Maybe Larry David could just do it.
He could. He could just get Larry. Does Larry David know at least as much about basketball as Tom Gores?
I feel like he probably does.
Well, he have an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Shaq.
He did. So he's got
a big Seinfeld fan. Maybe we just hire Shaq. I mean, why not? I know that he's not like he has no history in Detroit. Whatever.
Inside the NBA, he's getting canceled.
That's right. We might as well just hire Charles Barkley. I don't know. If you're going to
Charles Barkley would be hilarious.
Yeah, right. At that point, it's just root for content, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, just
that's it.
Anytime Charles Barkley has a press conference, we're talking about it.
Oh yeah,
because he's just like, man, these players, they're garbage, man. They can't shoot. They're too soft. It's like
the fourth
Charles,
quarter.
You drafted him like a couple of days ago, and it's practice. Why are you this intense?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I'm sorry if I can't really have much faith in anything the Pistons do at this point. For me,
The evidence is kind of right in front of you, though.
I'm in
So,
show me mode. It's like
yeah.
win 30 games, get my attention. And the fact that 30 games is getting my attention, that tells me Seth is laughing.
That is
You're
so
laughing.
cool.
How are
Yeah.
This is
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here because it's getting ridiculous.
This is getting
it is
ridiculous.
Like literally though. It's like
Yeah.
my standard is like I would be impressed if next year this came.
You can't even speak.
Lou Holtz, where
Well, I don't get the brain man comb.
I just had a stroke.
Ed Combe.
Ed Combe. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would be impressed if they could string together 30 wins somehow.
Yeah, the fact that that would be what if they won just 30? How many games are in an NBA season? 82.
82. That means
30
you're
and
losing
52.
52 games.
Well,
I've told this to be. It's like people
better than
are
68.
like people will act like you're asking for the world if you say
Yeah.
it's like I am asking for you to be outside of the bottom 3 teams out of 30 teams.
Just
Like,
try that.
That's not,
No.
we're not asking for,
For example, teams that won 30 games,
just run them down. What teams won 30 games this year?
or do you want less than 30 games?
Well, we won less than 30 games, so at least we know
Okay,
where
well,
we're at.
32 in the East, 32. We'll go 32 to 39.
Okay.
The Nets, Hawks, Bulls, and that's it. Just those
Okay.
3. Then it
So-
jumps up to 46. But in the West, we got the Jazz,
Mhm.
Rockets, Warriors. See, the West is a lot more competitive.
Right.
So
Well, the thing is, let's see.
they got-
Let's stick with the Jazz though. The
Yeah.
Jazz are a team that 2 years ago sold off all their players, and they're
Yeah.
already winning more games than you.
Yeah. Yep.
As awful as the franchise of the Jazz has been in terms of winning championships, they have they were a playoff team 3 years ago with Rudy and Mitchell, and now they sell those guys off, and now they're probably going to be on the upswing. I wouldn't be surprised if next year they're a play-in team because frankly they're a much better run organization than the Pistons.
Here's something that might make you feel better or worse.
It's gonna
The
make me feel worse.
Wizards were in 15 and 67, so you're not that far off of second to last.
It's really ridiculous.
I'm just throwing it out there. You lost one more game than the Washington Wizards.
We
who have
did.
Kyle
We
Kuzma,
did.
and that's it.
Jordan Poole.
And Jordan Poole. That's right.
Boy, that is
It's
Jordan
awkward.
Poole outside of California in 1 year is it's not
Yep.
great.
It's not
It's
great. That's what happens when you win an NBA championship, Mike. You go on
You
and
know
win
what?
15 games.
Good for Jordan Poole. He got his bag and then said, "You know what? I'm done playing basketball.
He's
I
like-
got my money. I
like,
quit."
It's been a fun ride, guys.
Yeah, it was great. It was great while it lasted, but you know
Yeah.
what? We're out of here.
Yup.
And
Man.
I guess I think we've hit this topic to the we've beaten it up for a significant amount of time. Sorry, I'm just having a stroke here. I guess before we cut off of basketball,
Yes.
I do want to mention Bill Walton. Bill Walton died yesterday. Yeah, wasn't it yesterday? 71 years old, cancer.
Yeah.
Seth, Bill Walton, probably a more prolific figure in California.
Indeed.
UCLA grad, national champion, all that jazz. Probably
In
one
San
of the
Diego
best
for part of his
Yep.
life.
Yeah, right, from San Diego.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably one of the best college basketball players ever, and probably one of the biggest what ifs in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think so.
like a guy
And
who just
then-
couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah. And then even still, the fact that he couldn't stay healthy, but has 2 championships.
Right.
One with the Trailblazers, one with the
And then with
Celtics.
the Celtics, who coincidentally on the day he dies win the Eastern Conference Championship.
There
I
you
mean, they
go.
were up 3-0, but still, I'm just
But
saying, it's
still,
kind of,
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's sad because for us at least, obviously Bill Walton played long before either of us were
This is
even
true.
a concept.
True.
But he, to me, was the college basketball color commentator. Like on top of like Dick Vitale, obviously
Dick
total
Vitale
legend,
is like,
but like the second tier, it was Bill Walton. When Bill Walton was calling your game, I mean, he always had something funny to say. He always he knew the game very well. And it's a shame that he didn't play longer in the NBA because I'm certain.
Yes.
You know, the Portland Trailblazers certainly could have had a dynasty going there, and please, that franchise could use any championships they could get.
Well, this day and age, absolutely.
I mean, Scoot Henderson, what are we doing? Do we even play basketball, Scoot?
I don't believe so.
This is why we don't draft G Leaguers. If the Pistons draft a G Leaguer, I quit. I am full blown anti G League.
I don't even know
who is the best G League player. Jalen, what's his name? The guy on the Rockets?
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green?
Yeah.
Is he like kind of mid?
He has games where he like kind of explodes for like 40 or something, but it's not like, let's look up his stats, shall we?
I remember doing this exact segment last year and like doing a deep dive on every single player from the G League. That was I think that was drafted. And like all of them were like terrible.
Well, he did play all 82 games.
Wow, good for him. He did his job.
He averaged about 19.6 a game. So,
wow, really blowing me away. Wasn't he taken number 2 overall?
I want to say so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess next year will be a chance for him to have a breakout year. And knowing me, he'll probably have a breakout year, and everyone will laugh at me.
Yep, more than likely.
Which is, I mean,
I'll be on that train.
Fair. Yep. I'm all right with it. Makes sense. Anything basketball related, feel free. Make fun of me. That's fine. Yep. I'm a Pistons fan. I've been through far worse than whatever you people could say. It's true.
Oh man, that is true. Absolutely.
Have you ever like stopped to consider the fact that George W. Bush was president the last time the Pistons won a basketball game in the playoffs?
No, I've never thought about that.
We've been through 3 presidents since the Pistons won a playoff game. Like, not a series. Like, I always got to reiterate this. Not a series. I mean, a game.
Yep.
Like,
they were there in 2018.
They were there in 2016.
There you go.
LeBron James and Giannis decided to.
They said no.
Terrible things.
Yep. They said no.
And I got to hear how LeBron's competition was so hard. He got to play the Pistons in the first round in 2016. That's not even a real series. I don't think, can anybody remember a single game from that series?
No.
Because I certainly can't.
I can't.
I think that was in the Palace too. I don't think the LCA was open at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Because the LCA was 2017 or 20.
Yeah, the Bucks.
Because the Bucks was in the LCA. Because that was like probably the most packed the LCA has ever been.
Just to watch Giannis.
Just to watch, Blake Griffin on one leg wasn't he hurt? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it was just Andre Drummond at that point.
Oh, Andre Drummond and Thon McCarr or whatever his stupid name was.
Hey, I think Thon Maker was still on the Bucks at that point. No, wait, no, he wasn't. He got traded that season.
I hate that name. I hate Andre Drummond. I hate everything about that. The late 2010s Pistons is like
that's peak basketball.
It's basketball cancer. Yep. It's like you want to like every person that grew up with that, like every person that like that was their like era of basketball.
Yeah.
Do not trust them with any basketball knowledge. They do not know anything about basketball. Like literally, like if they say something, if they say X player is good,
opposite.
Just like if you're on fantasy basketball, I don't do set those fantasy basketball. If a Pistons fan at Michigan State is telling you gotta draft this guy, draft his opposite. Draft a hockey player, draft a baseball. You'll probably do better.
So anyway, Mike. Shall we move sports to hear you rant more about Detroit?
That's a good question. What do we want to move on to? We can do some hockey, real quick.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
We can run it back. Yeah, it's a little less intensive, but look, conference finals in the NHL have been certainly a lot more competitive than in the NBA. Both these 2-1 in favor of the Rangers and the Stars. Edmonton, though, last night, I mean, that was brutal. They were up. Didn't
even catch it. And you know what?
Dallas came back in the third. It was like, I came home. I had been out that evening. I come home and it's like 2 or 3. I think it was 3-1. When I walk in, I'm like, okay,
period 3.
I'm gonna go. I go and use the bathroom. I'm gonna
Yep.
come back. I'll make the thumbnail and everything, and then I'll go to bed. I walk back in, and it's 3-3. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sure.
And then I'm editing, I'm doing stuff, and then I see, oh, it's 4-3, and they lost in regulation, and I'm just
That
like,
game's over.
Edmonton, what are we doing? Like, I gotta say, if you're a Canadian hockey fan and you just root for Canadian teams, you know what you might as well do. You might as well just like, let's see, who's the worst franchise in the? You might as well just be a Blue Jackets fan. We might as well just root for Columbus because it's basically the same thing, except you don't have to worry about who's in the playoffs. Because they're not going to be in the playoffs.
You don't have to say A after everything either.
That's true. You don't have to say A after everything. But the Rangers, on the other hand, they get a couple of overtime wins, which is brutal for Florida because those are games that, I mean, and once you go into overtime, it's anybody's game. But
but that's
brutal.
always like the most brutal, like especially in hockey. That's
because it's
like,
sudden death, right? Like the moment, like it's not like a score late in a game where it's like, okay, theoretically we could still win. It's like that's just it. Like like your goalie has to be on point. If you give up a bad turnover or whatever, it's it. You're just dead.
Which is
dead
like
in the water
for sure, like the most like heartbreaking way. Like hockey for sure is
hockey.
In overtime
because it's like every like in overtime, it's basically a buzzer beater.
It's like
you're in it and then you're not. Like
Yep.
in a matter of seconds.
Yep.
But the games have been good. I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed watching the Eastern Conference, Western Conference. It's been fun.
Yes.
The Panthers and the Rangers will tee off here in about 35 minutes or so. So that's probably going to be what I'm focusing on since the Tigers aren't playing tonight. This is definitely a must-win for Florida. You can't go down 3-1 in the conference finals. They've come back from 3-1 before, but right now, I mean, the Rangers, they're the President's Trophy winners. They're the best team in hockey. So you can't give them life, basically.
Yeah, and more than likely, you know.
Yeah, well, I think it's in Florida. I think. I can't really
Okay, so
tell.
that could be something, but
yeah, I believe it's in Florida because the first two games are in New York.
That's right.
The number 1 seed, and then
Yep.
Florida lost.
I don't know though. You know.
Yeah, I was actually, does home ice advantage really do anything? This is a question that I've considered. Well, okay, like my instinct is that, well, yeah, but like then I think about it a little bit deeper, and I'm like, well, it's not like, in football or basketball where like once a team is on defense or offense, it's like that's when the crowd gets loud or quiet relative to. It's like in hockey, it's like possessions are constantly changing. Like it might be like the initial like walk in because like you see some of the shots of these arenas and the towel waving. It's crazy. I haven't been to a hockey game in a long time, but they're a lot of fun. But I don't know. I mean, like it's certainly it probably is the lowest.
Yeah, I would say of the sports, it's the lowest for sure.
Yeah, because even like baseball, like you'll have. I mean, isn't it that famous clip of I think it was the Reds and the Pirates in the playoffs, and someone, I think it was Quavo, was the pitcher for the Reds or whatever, and they're chanting Quavo, and like he ends up he drops the ball, it's a balk, so base runners advance, and then he gives up a home run, and it's like it was Johnny Cueto.
Quavo. I got the idea.
Yeah, and that I mean, like, not to get too much on a tangent, but certainly home field advantage matters in baseball, basketball, it's home court advantage, and football, more than hockey. But still, good hockey going on in the NHL.
Yep,
check it out. It's fun, and it's a lot more competitive than the NBA has been.
Yes.
So with that, let's see. Do you want to let's hit on this college stuff? So
yes.
Recently, I'm sure you saw, and it's in the show sheet. So, Power 5 conferences are now going to allow schools to pay players directly after this court settlement deal thing. So, basically, here's the statement from NCAA News, and I quote: "The 5 autonomy conferences and the NCAA agreeing to settlement terms is an important step in the continuing reform of college sports that will provide benefits to student athletes and provide clarity in college athletics across all divisions for years to come. This settlement is also a roadmap for college sports leaders and Congress to ensure this uniquely American institution can continue to provide unmatched opportunity for millions of students. All of Division One made today's progress possible, and we all have to work to implement the terms of the agreement as the legal process continues. Look forward with blah 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 blah. Next chapter of college sports. So basically, NCAA is paying $2.7 billion over 10 years of damages to both current and former athletes. So basically the background activity around all this is that these athletes who didn't get to use NIL illegally, essentially, were like, well, this is BS. You were, screwing us. So they had a class action lawsuit, and now they're getting doled out some cash. So if you were a walk on in 2006, I don't know how that works. Did you have to be in the class action to get a split of that?
I would assume so.
So how good of a player do you if you're the third string punter? Do you get $30?
Did he join the class action lawsuit?
I don't know. I don't know how any of this works.
Because I feel like if he was in it, say it's
he's got to get it, right?
$30.
Here's my thing though.
I am dinner.
Look, this was inevitable, right? I mean, certainly with the way NIL, of course the schools are going to have to pay them, and of course now they're going to be
because I was gonna say you have a bunch of guys who are it's complaining that they don't get paid, and it's
yeah, it's inevitable. I don't.
Yeah,
it was one of those things where whenever I'd talk to people about the thing about NIL, I would explain it's well, the whole thing about it is in theory, it's supposed to be one guy talks to, I don't know, Shane Chevrolet in Lansing. And Shane Chevrolet is be in our commercials. We'll give you, $10,000 for you to be in commercials that'll air for the year. Sweet. $10,000 sounds great.
Sweet. Put it in my pocket.
But that's not what inevitably happens, right?
No.
It'd be nice if Caleb Williams, right? Who gets Dr. Pepper commercials. Caleb Williams is getting millions of dollars for those. And if Caleb Williams is getting millions of dollars, well, what about the left tackle that nobody knows who he is, who's putting his life on the line to protect Caleb Williams?
Exactly.
I want to share that money. And so then they're like, well, shoot. Nobody knows who the left tackle of USC is. So he's not really going to be able to logistically, get some NIL lucrative deal. So they're like, well, this is nonsense. You can't, we're putting our lives on the line just like these other players, these popular players, these skill position players. So the only inevitable option is well, I guess we just got to have a salary. Everybody's got to get paid. And the colleges are going to have to be the ones who put it out. And then the NIL is just extra money.
And that's where my tuition goes now.
Yeah, right. You're paying for Michigan State's football program.
Hey, as long as we do better this year,
you
more than happy.
Possibly do worse, Seth.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. You could possibly do worse, but I don't think. Unlikely. What do they play? The Northern Michigan Huskies or Michigan Tech? Who was their first game?
I think it's Michigan Tech.
You think so?
I think so.
Do they have a football team? I don't think they're able to get out of their dormitories because it's frozen outside.
Actually, good point.
We can't get out. It's 100 inches of snow and it's January. Actually, that makes sense.
Florida Atlantic, Maryland, Prairie View, Boston College, Ohio State, Oregon.
Can we pause on Prairie View?
I've never heard of that school in my life.
What are they? The Antelopes?
The Panthers.
Oh, meow.
Prairie View A&M Panthers. Interesting.
Wonderful. Wait, what week is that?
That is week 3. So we play Maryland early.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, so Big Ten play starts in week 2. That's a little unusual.
Apparently. Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll take it. I like meaningful games early because it tells me who we are. Is Little Tua, is he still in the NFL? Or the NFL?
NFL? I think so.
Talia.
Yeah, Talia Tagovailoa. Let's see.
Yeah, is he still on their team?
It does.
If he is, he's probably getting paid. Because Lord knows he's not getting paid in the NFL.
I know, yeah. I don't think so.
You know what the Dolphins got to do? They got to just draft him just so that he like
I
stays
know.
out of trouble.
It's true.
You know, like just
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
Watch over your little brother.
Yep.
Don't let him get too crazy. Not
Yeah.
that I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff to do in Miami, so maybe
There
you
is.
maybe you should go to like what's a boring city? This is gonna get me in trouble.
Anywhere but coast.
What about Jacksonville? You know, well he could get
That's in Florida.
yeah, he could get some meth. That's not good. We don't want
Yeah,
Tallulah to get on meth.
let's think about what about somewhere in the Midwest.
I was gonna say St. Louis, but they don't have a team anymore.
Yeah.
What about the Midwest? Can't do Chicago. That too many bad things happen. I guess Green Bay. There's like nothing that happens in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Except, disgusting people who eat cheese and beer and yell things.
Oh well. They're having a good time.
So yeah, you know what? Maybe Green Bay just take him just so that he's okay.
Yeah.
It's not that far from Maryland. It's just, several states away.
Okay.
But
Anyway.
not to get too off track here.
Yeah. I'm
the
ready for
whole
MSU football, by the way.
paying it's like, okay. At a certain point, to me, it's not really even college football. Like it's like kind of I mean, look, what people will say, and there's truth to it, is that
NFL
this was
prep.
always kind of happening. Sort of. Like it was always happening in that, the really good players were getting, McDonald's bags full of cash, right?
Yeah.
But like it wasn't like, every single guy was basically just in it for a quick buck, right?
No.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you
They're
had
playing for their
guys who were
school,
yeah, right.
typically.
Like they went to the school, they got a free education, quote unquote.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you go to Alabama as a player, I don't
Yeah.
know if they even offer classes. I'm pretty sure. Like,
Their
I've never
class is
heard of
going to
somebody
Nick
actually
Saban's
like.
film room.
You know what's funny, and this might be like kind of unfortunate. Like, have you heard of like a famous person that graduated from Alabama that's not like an athlete? Because I can think of like basically every other, well, I mean not every other school, but like Michigan State. I know what's his name, James Caan, the actor, went to Michigan State. Tom Gorris went to Michigan State. Dan Gilbert, he went to Michigan State, owner of the Cavaliers.
Yep.
Like there's famous, like who is the most famous person that went to university? Like that's not an athlete. I need a celebrity who went to Alabama. There's no way.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
It's like Joe Namath. Let's see. Tua. I can't think of any other historical figures. Maybe like a president. Are there any presidents from Alabama?
Does not appear so, no.
No. Millard Fillmore didn't go to Alabama. What about Grover Cleveland?
Well, hold on.
Oh, we do have somebody.
Do you know who? Apparently Harper Lee, the writer of To Kill a Mockingbird, which I don't know if you had that in high school.
I did not read the book, but he went to Alabama.
Apparently so.
That was a very long time ago. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to. Harper, I don't know. Golly.
Mike, please.
He's fat. That's not nice, Stephen A.
Steven. Come on now.
Yeah. So I don't have that much more to add, I guess, on this whole college football. Or I guess I'd say college football is probably what's mostly going to involve. But
yeah,
athletes can get paid now. Great. Okay. I can't wait until they have to pay the bands.
I know.
Because at a certain point,
trumpet player wants
we're traveling with the team too.
Yeah, we want to
come on, where's our paycheck? We gotta, spend hours and hours every day
same
practicing.
Songs.
It's like, have you?
Yeah.
Well, like when I lived in Case Hall, you never lived on that side of campus, but
yes, I did. I lived in Wilson.
Did? Oh, well,
so
I'll just shut up then. Yeah, the
exactly
band practices during the fall. It's like I knew what songs they were going to perform before they knew.
Yeah.
Like before, like it would. I think I went to a game as a freshman, and
you knew the entire.
I was like, as soon as they walked out, I was like, they said like, oh, it's music from the Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, oh, that's where that's from. Because it was like I would hear it, and I'd be like, it sounds so familiar, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to look this up because it's like, what am I supposed to look up? And then it was like, oh, Pirates of the Caribbean.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Yep.
But I think they ended up losing that game anyway. So
That wouldn't surprise me.
I think I've been to like 2 Michigan State victories. I was
Really?
at Western Kentucky. I was
Ooh.
at that game, but I wasn't in the student section. My dad had tickets,
Yeah, there you
so that was good. And then I think I went to the first game on a Friday, in 2018, 2019. So
Nice.
whoever they played, I think they played like some random team. That they
Probably
barely beat.
Central Michigan or something.
Something like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was Central, but they won. And
Yeah.
it was still painful. That was
Good
like the
job.
late years of Mark D'Antonio.
Yes.
But yeah, so fun.
Indeed.
And speaking of so much fun,
Yep.
fun, to quote the Beach Boys. Baseball,
Yep.
Tigers get swept by the Royals. Yay! And then
Woohoo.
they win a 4-game set against Toronto.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So I wanted to do a little bit of a deepish dive.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I heard going into this year, whenever I would point out that maybe we should be investing a little bit more in this team, and maybe we are not as good as we might think we are. And everyone was like, "Well, we don't want to block anybody. We don't want any of our young players. We don't want them to.
Sure.
We don't want poor Jace Young to not be able to come up when he's ready."
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That seems like a bad strategy, a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it plays out. And so I
Here
got
we
a couple of graphical images here.
Sure.
The first is MLB wins above average by position for each team. So people don't know wins above average. It's basically like WAR, except slightly different. Treat it like WAR. Essentially.
It's essentially WAR.
Like WAR, I think the difference is WAR is for a replacement level player in the minor leagues, and average wins against average is
like
average player
minor,
in the league.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like whatever the average player is in the league, like how much better they are, how many wins they get you over an average.
Okay.
So
let's hear your facts.
Let's just so first of all,
Yep.
the team, the Tigers, in totality, where do you think they sit in wins against average?
This is like a ranking. So
It's like you can go into the negative. It's like WAR. So it's like you can have like one WAR, 2 WAR. You can have 0.6 WAR, whatever. You can go into the negatives as well if you're really bad.
Well, let's go with this. This is probably going to be completely off.
Right.
-1.
Seth, that is exactly right. They are -1 wins against average, which means as a team,
I thought more.
They are not good. They are losing as a team, which makes sense because they're a below 500 team. Now, for some clarity, some showing of how we're looking. The top end is the Yankees. They have a 9.9 wins against average.
Ooh.
Bottom is the White Sox, who have a whopping -9.6. You just hate to see it.
Well, not really.
So, in the starting pitching, which is probably where the Tigers are best, they have 2 WAR against average or wins against average. I keep saying WAR against average.
WAR against average. We'll
very good.
Sure.
I shouldn't say very good. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You know, above average pitching. I've talked about the pitching. Tarek Skubal's a stud. Jack Flaherty's having a great year. Reese Olson is a stud. And even on the back end, Casey Mize has been pretty okay. Kenta Maeda, he's starting to get it together after getting sick. Believe it or not, he was on the IL for being sick. I've seen it all basically as a Tiger.
You
fan.
have.
Relief pitching though, it started great. We were feeling good. It's now a -1.4. And it's not good. This whole month of May, I think they've got like a 6 ERA, which is not great. Not good.
No.
But now we get into the meat and potatoes, which is where I was the hitting. So at the catcher position, this is actually surprising me. They are 0, which is to say they are painfully average. They're not below average.
They are average.
But they're not like doing much for you.
Nope.
And frankly, I would say they're probably way worse because the duo of Carson Kelly and Jake Rogers is like Helen Keller meets who's another what's Stevie Wonder. That's basically
Stevie
what we have
Wonder.
at the plate.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles. It's basically Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder basically is who you have at catcher. At the first base position, It is negative 1.3. So shout out number 1 overall pick Spencer Torkelson, doing great. At the second base position, it is negative 0.4. You're going to notice a trend here very, very quickly.
Sure.
At third base position, who I don't even know who plays third base any given day because it changes every day. It's negative 0.4.
Okay.
At the shortstop position, shout out Javi Baez, negative 1.2.
Oh.
At the left field position, we have a positive 0.6. At the center field position, 0.
Okay.
At the right field position, 0.6.
Ooh.
And at the designated hitter and the I think that's pinch hitter, we have 0.4 and 0.1 respectively. We don't even have one win against average position on our entire team.
Nice.
Or a hitter, I should say, because we have it in pitching. Every other one is either negative or 0 or a little below 1.
Or just like a little,
Right, like this is like when I hear like, oh no, we don't have to worry about second base. We have Colt Keith. Well, by the way, second base for you is a losing position. It's a negative 0.4. Or we don't have to worry about our outfield. We have Mark Canha. Well, your entire outfield is 0.12 wins against average. That's your whole outfield.
Yeah.
Including any guys off the bench that can play outfield. So the only thing you have worthwhile is pitching. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out about this team is where one of the things that I'm very grateful to the Detroit Tigers subreddit for doing this. Sure. They have this guy who will rank, every day off, he will point out where do the Tigers stand in particular stats in the league, and he'll have it color coded. It's very nice. Where light blue is great, green is good, yellow is average, orange is bad, and red is awful.
Okay.
So pitching, as understood, or as most, I mean, they're good. They're mostly in the green. They have some greats, some blues there. They're 10th in ERA. They're tied for 5th in quality starts.
There you go.
They're 10th in home runs given up, which is to say like they give up very little home runs. They're 4th in walks, which again is to say they give up very little walks.
Yep.
They're not great in strikeouts. They're actually considered bad in strikeouts at 19th. They're average in on-base average, which is exactly what it sounds like, on-base average.
Yep.
They're 14th in that, and they're 8th in whip. So good pitching, and the pitching has sort of slowed down a little bit as time has gone on. This is the worst that they've stood in the pitching, and it's still pretty good.
That's still decent, yeah.
Yeah. On the offensive side,
sure.
Do you want to venture a guess as to like how many? Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 offensive stats. I just want like, do you think like how many do you think we are average to above average?
Out of 12?
Out of 12.
3.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 12.
Okay.
Now that sounds better. Okay.
Sounds better.
One problem.
Sure.
4 out of those 5 are all in the average category. The only thing where we are considered great is triples. We are actually top in the league in triples with 16. I don't really know how that happens, but we're
congratulations, guys.
We're a very good triples team. It may or may not have something to do with the fact that we play in a hitter-friendly ballpark with very large dimensions. Either way, we are 17th in batting average, 236. We are 21st in on-base percentage, 306. Our slugging percentage is 19th, 378. Making our OPS 684. Hopefully the math is right on that, which is 20th in the league. Our doubles is 14th in the league with 84 total doubles. I already said 16 triples. We have the 23rd. We're tied for 23rd in home runs with 46, which I'm pretty sure is like the amount of home runs that what's his name, Juan Soto had like last year or something like that. Some player has had as many home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I guess that was over a whole season. But whatever. There was like some
Still.
stat last year where we had like a singular player basically had more home runs than us for like a significant. I think no, it was the year Aaron Judge broke that record. People were like, "Who's gonna end up with more home runs, the Tigers or
the Tigers or Aaron Judge?"
And it was pretty close, actually.
Hey.
I think the Tigers ended up squeaking by it. But
hey, there you go.
In RBIs, they're 15th. In total bases, they're 20th. In walks, they are tied for 17th. In strikeouts, they are 20th. And in stolen bases, which to me is the most egregious one, they are 29th out of 30 teams. They have 22 stolen bases on the.
You better tell those guys to start running.
Here's the thing, though. I wish it was that simple. I go through our lineup, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know who to tell to run. Like we don't have any speed. Like none of I think our leading stolen base player is Javi Baez, who can't get on base. So like I guess like if he gets on base, he can be technically a threat. But like 29 or 22 stolen bases. Ellie De La Cruz, I think, has double of that.
Oh yeah.
Like I think he might have a triple of that at this rate. Like,
well, Ellie though, he actually runs.
He can actually play baseball.
He can.
Yeah, where's our Ellie De La Cruz? To all the people who
I was asking that last year
we have
on the Padres.
Yeah,
where's the Padres, Ellie? We don't have.
Where's any like? All of this is to say, basically, the team is not good, was not good to start, and all of these like even if you want to say, well, the offense is getting better, that is true, but it is still bad. Like it is still in the bad category. More times than it's in the average category or the good category. Like you're not going to sustain many wins. You're not going to win many games. Nope. And all of this to set up Scott Harris, president of baseball ops. He decided to talk about payroll, which is a very bad thing to talk about, Scott Harris.
Well,
so, and I quote, "From the moment I got here, Chris Ilitch said that we would have the resources we need to build a competitive club and to build a club that can sustain winning over a long period of time. We're not quite there yet as far as spending at that level because we need to build the foundation of this team to put us in a position to supplement it with some free agent signings in the upcoming winters." You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like, shut up, stop asking me questions, just eat your garbage and be fine with it.
Yep.
Like it's like, just wait until Miguel Cabrera gets off the books, then we'll start spending money. It's like we're just. I am ready for the day when there's going to be. I don't know if people are necessarily going to say this at this point, but I'm ready for the day when people are like, "Oh, just wait until Javi Baez's contract is off the books." You know, just wait until. I don't even know. What's our second biggest contract? Colt Keith? Like,
probably
who we signed, by the way. Like, I don't even like. Just wait until Tarek Skubel's off the books. Just wait until Prince Fielder's off the books. We're just waiting until Justin Abdelkader. Like, we're just naming random people that were signed by Detroit that didn't work out. Just you wait until Jeff Okuda is off the books. Then we'll really be.
Once Okuda's gone.
Yeah, just wait. Joey Harrington. As soon as we get rid of him, we're gonna figure it out at the quarterback position.
Totally fine.
What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, baseball. Like, let me just put this all into perspective.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm listening.
The Tigers, I believe, have been a below average payroll team since like 2017 or 2016, around that point. And what a coincidence. Around that point was when the team just started to absolutely suck. Is when the owner and the front office had no interest in putting anything into it. And I know what some nincompoops will say. Some nincompoops will come in and say, well, we did spend on Eduardo Rodriguez and on Javi Baez. Chris has shown that he's willing to spend. He just needs to spend it on the right guys. Well, here's the problem. I don't know that the guy in charge in Scott Harris is the right guy. Why? Why would I believe that he is the right guy? He didn't show any initiative. The team is as bad as it was last year. Like, I get it. He's only been here for 2 years. I get it.
Still.
He had a chance to draft a college bat who would have been up here today. He drafted a high school bat. Like, I don't know. I got no reason to believe in this guy. No
Can't make the rules. Yeah. And I was going to say, I think the being here for 2 years thing, that's going to be like that's an argument that you hear a lot for like coaches or owners or what, like management
Yeah, you
of
have to
teams.
wait. You have to wait.
No, like
that's not how good teams operate.
Yeah,
like that's
the
not
good
how a good
teams
organization
are just
operates.
going for it.
Well, it's like
so,
there's no such thing as a quote unquote like development year for the Dodgers, right? What do the Dodgers do every year? The Dodgers see a bunch of good free agents and say, I would like you to come play for us. You know what they didn't? You know what the Dodgers don't worry about? They don't worry about when Freddie Freeman is coming off the books. You know why? Because Freddie Freeman is a stud. Freddie Freeman is a good baseball player. We don't have Freddie Freeman. Like to quote Moneyball, here's the Dodgers, here's 11 feet of crap, and here's us. Okay? Yeah. And I don't know about you. I'm in the business of winning World Series, and the team hasn't won a World Series since Ronald Reagan was president. Okay?
It's a long time ago.
Long time ago, Seth. It's not great.
No.
And like all of this, like this feeling of like, like we'll put it past. Well, it's like,
yeah.
You're not actually you're treading water, and then eventually people just get tired of it, and they're like, "Oh, it's been the accepted amount of years, and now you're bad." It's like, no, this is the same thing I went through with Troy Weaver. This is the same thing that we went through with Al Avila. It's like if you're not good in years 1 and 2, you're not gonna just randomly be good as a GM in year 3. It doesn't happen.
I was gonna say, yeah, like that's the thing is like I can maybe excuse that as a coach or a manager in baseball in this case, but like say like an NBA coach, give him a year or 2. Who knows? Maybe Monty Williams will actually pick it up. But if they don't, and then by year 3 you're still seeing that same trend, like even early on, that's just like that to me is an indicator that it's just going this way instead of going this way.
Like it's like. I compare it, and I know it's not perfectly comparable. I know there might be some baseball players, some baseball fans will say that they're not the same. In the NFL, okay?
Yep.
When Brad Holmes took over in 21, like he had a solid. He drafted well, right? Like you immediately had Penei Sewell, you had Amon-Ra St. Brown, you had a few other. Like you had something. You had even take like Josh Reynolds, right, or Cully Freeman, like guys who were just like. They were kind of throwaway free agents, but they were contributors, right?
Like
they were on the team.
You're getting
they played a
out
role,
of them,
right? Yes. Like there is no future, okay, for Mark Canha in a Tigers uniform. There's no future for Gio Urshela on a 1-year deal.
Hey,
like what? Look, I like Gio, but he's on a 1-year deal. He's not gonna stick around. If he's your third baseman come 2026, that's not a great sign for one. Like. Javi Baez certainly has no future. Why is he still playing baseball? It's not like there's a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we have to worry about like, oh no, we only have so much. It's like, you know what I would say to Javi Baez? I would say, here's $1 billion. Go play another sport. I don't know. Go play in Puerto Rico. Go to Saskatchewan. Go to the Saskatchewan Baseball League.
SBL. I don't even know where that is.
I think it's in Western or Eastern Canada. Saskatchewan. Let's actually look that up. I don't know where Saskatchewan is.
Let's Google that.
Any Saskatchewanese? Saskatchewan. Hold on.
Do you know how to spell that?
It is. Hold on. I'm opening the map. It is actually in central Canada. Saskatchewan.
You got
a large region.
You got Canada, so
yeah. So go play in Saskatchewan. They got probably some baseball. And with all that being said, like I am not in the fire anybody mode, but what I am in is the answer questions in a way in which I can have confidence in your own ability to lead the team. Because if it just sounds like, GM speak and like if it sounds like essentially Chris Ilitch is the one saying things, then I do not want to be a part of this. I would like to eject. I would like to I would like to send myself on a rocket ship to Neptune and not have to deal with the Tigers.
Well, that would be something.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but
that looked awful.
Thank you, Joe Buck.
oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you.
But yeah, so they'll play a doubleheader tomorrow against the Pirates. They've won 3 games in a row. If you want my attention, sweep the Pirates and then beat the Red Sox on the road. They'll have my attention back. I'll be right. We'll be back at that point.
Yeah,
but
we'll be back.
I don't feel confident that they'll be able to do either of those things because Paul Skeens is pitching for the Pirates on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you know that he's dating Livy Dunn? Did you know that?
I did know.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know because I didn't hear about it for 30 seconds every time he's mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But I think that's it. I think that
That's all we got. I think.
I think so. Looks like the hockey game is about to get started here. They're doing
there you
little
go.
celebrations and stuff. They got some lights, fun stuff. The Panthers, meow.
Wow.
That's the noise
what they do.
make.
That's what they do.
But with that, we're gonna wrap up the show.
That's it.
Appreciate anybody for stopping by, listening in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back next week. Probably have the NBA Finals decided at that point. They won't start until
I think it's here.
Like June 7th or something like that, or June 8th.
Yeah.
So
can we do more? Nope. I want more games.
Oh.
There we go. June 6th.
Okay, so then at that point
Thursday, June 6th.
We'll be able to do a full finals preview. We'll probably be able to do a Stanley Cup Finals preview at that point as well.
More than likely, yeah.
And I guess technically we'll be getting closer and closer to the draft.
Yeah.
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here because it's getting ridiculous.
DeMarcus, please.
Thanks, DeMarcus.
We know. It's already ridiculous. But
yep.
Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And we will see you all for next week's show. So
yes.
Have a good night, everybody, and see you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.